This comes to us from GameIndustry.biz. They said Ubisoft to restructure as creative houses as Q1 2025-2026 financials come in. You ready? Lower than expected. I know you're all shocked, right? These units will reflect our diverse experiences and allow for the enhanced quality, focus, autonomy, and accountability, says CEO Yves Guillemot. Ubisoft has released its first quarter financial results for 2025-26 fiscal year, reporting below expectations earnings, a lower than expected performance for Rainbow Six Siege, and unfavorable foreign exchange. Oh my God. Are they really going to do that one too? Like, let's throw that in. Might as well. Like, what could possibly go wrong? We're already blaming everything else. We're blaming Disney for Star Wars failing. Let's also blame the global economy for just the amount of money that we're not able to exchange like we used to, because that's not our fault. We can get other people to do that, right? Right. And a partnership that is now expected to materialize in Q2, which this partnership with Tencent, I still can't believe got approval. It must be because it's international, so there's not like a governing body that could stop it. And the governing body that would stop it would be China, but China would be the one wanting to do it. Its back catalog net bookings, however, were up 4% in the same period last year. That's terrible, by the way. This tells you that people are rather purchasing older games from Ubisoft than newer games. That is the sign of a dead company, ladies and gentlemen. The first quarter delivered mixed results, says Yves Guillemot, Ubisoft co-founder and CEO. So what I said when I saw this is, let me bring this up here. Ubisoft CEO, I don't want to promote, what? Get out of here. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot says Ubisoft delivered mixed results. What? Like terrible and piss poor are now able to be combined for mixed? Technically, he's not lying, I guess. On the positive side, Assassin's Creed Shadows delivered on its expectations, which press X to doubt if you think Shadows delivered on expectations. There's no way on this earth, I believe, anything that Yves Guillemot or Ubisoft says regarding Assassin's Creed Shadows based off of how the game has gone since launch. But okay. Just like how he said it cost over $100 million to make it, but we're not going to say how much. It's like, yeah, that means it could cost upwards of $1 billion. Over $100 million doesn't mean anything. With now more than they have 5 million sales. Okay. You know what? I take it back. Assassin's Creed Shadows did do okay. I guess that kind of did deliver on expectations. They sold 5 million. Oh, wait. Never mind. 5 million unique players. That's not sales. Hold on a second. This sounds like funny numbers, funny accounting again. More than 5 million unique players since launch. How many of those were playing a free copy of the game from when NVIDIA hard drives were sold and included with it? How many of those are playing with a free trial of Ubisoft Plus? How many of those paid for the trial and then canceled after 1 month? How many people bought the game on Steam and returned it because they didn't like it? Because that still counts as a unique player. These are just a few of the ideas, by the way, of how people would be able to access the game for little to no money, and they're counting it as a unique player. And Rainbow Six Siege X received highly positive player feedback thanks to its renewed gameplay and enhanced features that drove significant player engagement growth. But wait a second. Performance for Rainbow Six Siege was lower than expected. On the positive side, Rainbow Six received a highly positive player feedback. Hey, nobody's playing the games, but the one that did loved it. However, player spending in Rainbow Six faced temporary but significant disruptions due to technical pricing issues, which have now been identified and addressed. Despite this one off setback, the growth potential of the game is strong with solid traction on activity and in game spending. Which, oh, by the way, right here, in game spending, this is all Ubisoft cares about. This is why their games fail and will always fail forever until they get away. It's like this is like a drug addict that needs their drugs. They saw that there was money to be made in microtransactions and they just kept doing it until they microtransactioned all their games to death. Now people steer clear of Ubisoft because they don't want anything to do with that. Here's what you need to know by the numbers. For the first quarter, 2025-26 fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025, revenue, 310 million, 365 million, down 3.9% year over year. Net bookings, 281 million, 331 million, down 2.9%. I mean, this is not looking great. Digital net bookings, 250 million, 294 previous, down 2.7. Back catalog net bookings. Here we go. 260 million, 306 million, up 4.4%. So they have one positive back catalog. In regards to progress on its group transformation, Ubisoft said it will reorganize into creative houses. This is the same company that just sold off all its biggest franchises to Tencent, and now they are further splitting up Ubisoft into silos or creative houses. These business units will, quote unquote, enhance quality, focus, autonomy, and accountability while fostering closer connections with players. The first of which is the new subsidiary announced in March with a recently appointed dedicated leadership. Ubisoft added the transaction with Tencent is progressing well, in quotes, and is expected to be approved by the end of the calendar year. I am going to say something wild right now, and I could be completely off base. But if there were something to disrupt the acquisition, transaction, merger, whatever the hell you want to call it, with Tencent and Ubisoft, to prevent that from going through, I would almost argue that if Ubisoft just trims the fat, cuts the microtransactions way the hell back, gets rid of the DEI, and focuses on making great games once again, it would actually be a stock to invest in. But they haven't shown that they have the willingness to do any of that. And it will continue to fail until they do that. But I was thinking about this earlier today. I was looking at the stock price and I was like, this could be, theoretically, I know they're what, $2 billion in debt or something crazy like that, or $1 billion in debt. They're in a lot of debt, a tremendous amount of debt. But that being said, if they actually took the steps necessary to turn the ship around, this could theoretically become the next GameStop situation. I was thinking about that, like, hey, again, definitely not financial advice, and I am definitely not encouraging anyone to do it, especially at this point in time. But I'm just saying, like, playing this out, if worse comes to worse, there is a case to be made that they strike gold with a game and it turns around. Just so you know. I know. I'm not saying it's likely. I'm being very clear here. I'm just highlighting the chance that it could happen. I'm just saying. I when a stock is beaten down as hard as this is, and they're laying off people, they're trimming fat, selling off properties, there's a case to be made. The same case that could have been made with THQ back in the day. And I actually interviewed Brian Farrell, the CEO of THQ, back when I started my channel. It's on Smash JT. If you search Brian Farrell interview Smash JT, he told me in that interview with THQ, with the turnaround that they were trying to do there, that they were this close to turning it around. But it was too much and they had to go belly up. But he said they were really, really close, like much closer than a lot of people thought they were to turning it around. And I believe him. I believe him. So that being said, like, I believe that THQ was going to turn it around. They didn't. I don't believe Ubisoft is going to turn it around, but they could. They always could. So keep that in mind. Not going to happen. No, it's going to happen. Okay, I read that wrong. I thought you said not going to happen. You never know. You never know. I'm just saying. Anyways, where was I? Kind of going off track with this. Ubisoft added it's progressing well. Assassin's Creed Shadows performed in line with expectations and recently crossed over the 5 million player mark, which again means absolutely nothing. How many units have you sold? While Rainbow Six Siege X, the 10th season of the shooter, launched on June 10th, complete with major upgrades to core systems, was was subjected to a pricing exploit, which Ubisoft said was caused by players purchasing prepaid currency cards that temporarily inflated virtual currency wallets. That said, Sessions Days, which by the way, that's 100% on Ubisoft for allowing that to even be a situation. That said, Sessions Days are roughly up 25% year over year, and June delivered the third strongest MAU performance in the game's history, trailing only the 2 peak months during COVID period, spring 2020. Division 2 similarly had a strong start to the fiscal year with a launch of year 7. All this stuff, this is the problem with Ubisoft. All their games are seasons, DLCs, microtransactions, part 10, part 7, year 8, DLC, updated. It's like, just make a great game and sell that great game. The publisher did not reveal further sales. Of course not, because they're not happy about it. Further sales information for Star Wars Outlaws, only reaffirming its Switch 2 launch on September 4th and stating its second DLC, A Pirate's Fortune, released in May. We also continued to make meaningful progress on Ubisoft's transformation by outlining a new operating model built around business units called Creative Houses, Guillemot said. These units will reflect our diverse types of gaming experiences and will allow for enhanced quality, focus, autonomy, and accountability. Over time, each of these creative houses will boost creative vision and business performance. Again, the problem that I see with Ubisoft is not lack of business sense, which, yes, they definitely have that. But the biggest problem with Ubisoft is lack of creative talent. They don't have the people there that come in with an idea that will sell. In fact, the people they did have left to form Sandfall Studios and make Expedition 33. So what's that say about Ubisoft? The new subsidiary announced earlier this year and overseeing our flagship brands, M-, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six, M-, is the first of these creative houses. The recent announcement of its leadership team marks an important milestone as we move towards a more agile and focused organization while ensuring necessary long-term stability and creative vision. Guys, at this point, I'm looking at Ubisoft like they are some sort of debt that the banks just need to keep in business because they continue to make money, but they owe so much money that they need to keep them in business to keep paying their debt. I don't necessarily see them turning this around, but that's probably because they keep hiring the worst people to work at this company, and they care more about diversity, equity, and inclusion instead of making. Oh, they also really care about feminism and women empowerment and LGBTQ at the workplace, which still to this day is the weirdest thing for a company to be pushing at work. But that's Ubisoft these days, and that's why they continue to fail. And until they change that and they get someone in charge, they get rid of Yves Guillemot, because I believe deep down he is a complete woke tard, lost touch with reality, has no idea what makes a good game anymore, and thinks just bringing in people that are LGBTQ are going to somehow make a game great. That's not how any of it works. And you think by now somebody would have spoken up, like an investor, a very wealthy investor would speak up and be like, this, we can't have this anymore. We need to change the direction here. But so far, nothing seems to be changing except for Ubisoft doing more funny money numbers and creating creative houses to put people in different silos at the company. That doesn't bring you more money in. It's still going to be losing money. It's just going to be losing it in different departments now. Okay. But anyways, I'll leave that there.